Ladies and gentlemen, here in downtown LA with the one and only undisputed world champion of the world, Donatella Azygous. Donatella, thank you for having us in your studio today.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Prepare for takeoff.
You're now listening to Stepner Show.
Who's this little fella?
This is my son and love of my life, Seneca Azygous.
We should have a play date with Lola.
Yes, absolutely.
They would fall in love.
Yay.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having us in your studio. What a great space.
Thank you so much.
You know, the first time I came here, I definitely felt compelled to invite you to be on the mic, and thank you for having us here today.
Yes,
And,
I'm so happy to have you guys here, and to be able to get a little bit more exposure and get the studio out there because it is a private space. So this is kind of a rare moment for us.
Oh my gosh, I feel honored and privileged to be able to be here. I know that this is a sacred space. And for people who don't know, tell us about Azygous Art House.
So Azygous Art House is a collective of all female artists. We are all multidisciplinary artists, and the idea was to kind of create a safe space in which women artists could come together and create in different art forms, but also welcome our clients into a very non-intimidating place to receive your ink and have it be inspiring and fun and really appeal to the inner child of our clients. That's kind of like a motive that's really driven me in the way I've set up the space and even in the people that I've chosen to be here. I really love allowing my inner child to come out and play. I know that's when I'm happiest. So just kind of like adding elements to the studio, as you've seen, like a swing and a slide. They're just really fun, unexpected elements that I feel like as adults we don't really experience after a while. And like having people in here and like having them swing or slide and they're just like, oh my God, I haven't been on one of these in 10 years. I'm like, yes.
I mean, when I first walked in here, I definitely felt like I was in a clubhouse.
Yeah.
And it was playtime.
Yes.
Awesome. And at what point did you realize Azygous Art House had to become a reality?
I was working at a very well-known tattoo shop, and it was a very traditional kind of male-dominated tattoo shop, and I learned a lot there, and I really enjoyed my time there. But once I had set a goal of being there for 5 years, and once those 5 years kind of were creeping up, like things just kind of started falling into place. I ended up having to move. I started looking for live-work lofts. I found this particular space, and the moment that I saw it, it just kind of dawned on me, and I knew it was time to create it, and I knew that this was that space.
Oh my goodness, congratulations. And
Thank you.
You're working at a tattoo parlor, then you founded your own spot. And if someone's looking to get a tattoo and they come to you, what kind of ink are they going to get from you? Like, what is your specialty?
For myself and for all of the people that work here, our specialty is custom design. For myself in particular, I like very intricate, very specific work. A lot of times people come to me with almost like an abstract idea, and then I'm able to kind of digest all that information and create a design for them. So a lot of like intricate things, like recently I just did an organ tattoo that took me, the tattoo itself was 5 inches tall by 3 inches wide. It took me about 7 hours to complete. But if you look at the tattoo, I mean, it's excruciatingly detailed. But I love things that are challenging and very personal to my clients, so when I can kind of like tap in and give them something that is kind of like a rare tattoo to receive, I'm like, that for me is like a winning combination. People can expect to receive something that's completely unique and extremely detailed.
Amazing. And tell me about your artist in residency. How many people do you have here with you at Azygous Art House?
So there is 5 of us total. There's 4 tattooers that also, again, dabble in different art forms such as fashion design, nail design, jewelry design. It's a really fun team. Everybody works well together. And again, it's like the level of artistry from each person here, I think, speaks for itself. And everything comes together to form like a very unique group.
Nice. And what is it about working in a collective like this that has made the journey for you really worthwhile?
It really has become a lot like a family, which is great and then also awful sometimes. I feel like I'm sometimes exercising my maternal instincts where I'm just like, all right, kids, we're going to get it together. We're going to do things and be great, okay? To share like the fruits of my labor and to create a space for these different artists to come together and for clients to come in and like enjoy it has been super gratifying, and I have gotten to those points where I question, like, why are you doing this and why are you working so hard and like, what's the point, But then I have those moments where like, one of the girls comes to me and is like, hey, like being here has, helped me elevate myself, has, put me in a different mental, position or situation. And even with clients, when they've thanked me for creating a space where they feel so at ease and, inspired, I feel like those little moments are really what make everything worthwhile. As an artist, I feel we have very unique abilities to almost create worlds. And not to sound like an egomaniac or anything.
Well, no,
but
I mean, this is a tangible representation. Like, I feel like I'm in a different world.
Yay!
I'm in the presence of a different level thinker here,
Oh,
Donatella.
But yeah, so like the ability to just create a space that really came from inside my mind has been, it's just a cool thing to see unfold. But then when it affects people in a positive way, that's the real payoff.
So you have your colleagues and your customers, and I'm seeing that there's a sense of community that's being built here.
Yes, absolutely.
And as an entrepreneur myself, I love to explore how we balance a well-examined life using creativity. Mm-hmm. So big question for you. How is creativity so important to you in what you do for your work and in your business?
Creativity is, I feel like, basically like the blood that runs through my body. I'm just like, wake up, I'm like, oh, what can I make? Or what should I be working on? It's like, it's constant. It doesn't stop. Like, it doesn't stop when I'm sleeping. It can be rather annoying sometimes. But it's something that, for me, is very natural, but it's also all-consuming. So making stuff is all I ever think about, really. And I'm fortunate enough to have a business background to be able to kind of take that creative tendency, that creative flow, and turn it into a business.
Oh my goodness. So tell me a little bit about that business background and how does it impact and amplify your artistic endeavors?
Really started like watching my dad. He's an immigrant and he was always just very independent and never wanted anybody to tell him what to do. So he always, he started working for himself after a few bad stints with bosses that he didn't really get along with. And so like just watching him and just like understanding that all the hard work he was putting in was equating to his version of freedom. That was one thing that I found to be really inspiring, like even subconsciously as a kid. And then during college, I went on to study business marketing and art. So I literally was learning how to tattoo, studying business marketing, and studying art all simultaneously. So I kind of like got to develop these like 3 different paths at the same time. And it was cool because, it's like for business marketing, I was in marketing class and I was like, oh man, like these guys need to go take an art class and learn some Photoshop. And, in art class, I was like, oh my God, like these guys need to learn how to make a resume and like speak publicly. So it was like very interesting, like at that time it was almost like, oh, you should focus and you should just choose one thing. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do everything and I'm going to do all of it well.
If you're looking back at your younger self, what would you say to your younger self?
I mean, looking back right now at kind of like the trajectory that I've gone through, it's funny because like things really do end up making sense, and it's just like there's so many times where we're just kind of like, oh, I'm feeling kind of lost, or is this right, and it's just kind of like going forward with your best foot, or putting your best foot forward in all situations. Like everything kind of just comes together at some point. So that, like, looking back on that is a really reassuring and beautiful thing. Honestly, if I were like giving advice to my younger self, I'd just look at myself and be like, focus. Don't party so hard, my dear. But even that, like I feel like all those moments kind of like have led me to who I am today, and like to have like the worldly experience that I have had.
You mentioned that you're always working, you're always thinking. What do you have next that you want to do?
So at this moment right now, I've kind of reconnected with some of my mentors for tattooing, and kind of just like almost like reintegrating into like that male-dominated tattoo shop vibe. It's funny because it's like we were in it, then we were out of it, and now we're kind of like dabbling back in. But yeah, just kind of like refinding inspiration and trying to learn more about my craft from those that know a lot more than me.
That's incredible.
That's definitely something that I'm currently in, and I'm really looking forward to expanding on. But yeah, as far as like the studio goes, definitely involving ourselves with more expositions, like tattoo conventions, and creating more art shows. So we just had our very first one, and we definitely plan to continue that.
I'm sorry I missed it, but I was here in spirit, and the videos that I saw definitely felt that it was a grand old time.
It was a grand old time. It sure was.
It felt like you needed a secret password to get inside.
We might do that next time. We definitely had like a very good response to it, and we sold some paintings. So
oh my goodness,
that was rad.
So let's take it back to like your origin, like when you decided like you were studying art, and at what point did you leapfrog into tattooing, and what was that pivot that you were like, this is where I'm going to go?
Everything kind of like happened by divine intervention. I was at my first year of college. I kind of lost my mind. I was partying really hard, failing my classes. Health had plummeted. No job, $6 in my bank account. Found myself eating like a piece of toast with ketchup on it. And I was like, I think I might need to move back home because I need mom to take care of me. So the week that I moved back home, one of my cousins had met this tattooer in Lancaster. He had opened up a new tattoo studio, and she told him about me. So I moved back home. I meet this owner of Dead Man's Tattoo Studio in Lancaster, and him and I, we just clicked. He was a very respectable man in the industry, and that's like 17 years ago. So it was just kind of like a different world back then too. Mm-hmm. But he was like a hustler, and I respected that he was carving out his own thing. He wasn't asking anybody for a job. He had learned how to tattoo in prison, so it was just like the man had like gone through a lot, but he was really making his way. So he ended up offering me an apprenticeship. At that time, I only had 2 tattoos, and I was just kind of like, I love learning, and I love learning about different art processes and just being in different environments. And it dawned on me, I was like, whoa, new opportunity and like new skill set that I can learn in art. I was like, hell yeah, I'm there 100%. So I started with him and just kind of like slowly fell in love with it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And how many tattoos do you have now?
That's a good question.
Countless.
We're working on calling it one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
One big body piece.
One full body baby, yeah.
I don't have any tattoos, but any advice to anybody looking to get their first tattoo?
Get one. Yeah, absolutely. Do your research.
It's a little permanent.
Yes. If there's a specific style that you're looking for, there's a specific artist for that.
Ooh.
That's
good to know.
So it's definitely like look into it. And my favorite like old school tattooing quote is like, a good tattoo ain't cheap and a cheap tattoo ain't good. Ooh. And I promise that will stand the test of time. So yeah, like do your research and set aside a budget. It is a permanent piece of art that you are receiving. It is a collection, like a collector's piece if you look at it that way. And it's a lot cheaper in the long run to pay for a great tattoo than to get laser or cover-ups. So, yes.
I have a lot of indigenous blood, and I know that tattoos in my observation, there's a lot of indigenous history in tattooing. We,
as artists, like pay respect to the ritualistic aspect of the history of tattooing, which is something that we here at the Azygous Art House are very aware of. When we carry through with the process of tattooing, it is a very like personal, a very well thought out process. There's no rushing, there's no pressure. It's all about camaraderie, respect, and, like agreeance amongst the client and the tattooer. So in that sense, I do feel like that connection to like the super, like, that tribal vibe, There's this relationship that the client and myself, or the client and the artist, have, where they trust you enough to sit down, be very still for quite a few hours for you to put them through pain, and then they pay you for that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a very unique relationship to have.
I bet.
As a human.
I don't know, because I don't have any tattoos, but if I ever got a tattoo, I'd probably get a face of my dog right here.
I love it.
On my left wrist.
Yeah. We got to decorate the shell,
Yeah.
This is all this skin stuff is temporary.
And
so
does it hurt? Does it hurt?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it does hurt, but you can get into almost like a meditative zone with it.
Right.
To where, I don't know, you're in there, and it's almost like a vibration and like a vroom, vroom, and you kind of get in sync with it. But it also depends on a lot of factors. So like personal pain tolerance, placement of the tattoo, the light-handedness of the artist, or lack thereof.
So you must know a lot about anatomy and like pain pressures and...
A little bit, yeah.
I wish I could tell people what it's like to come get a tattoo from you, but I can't, because I have never gotten a tattoo from you. But it feels like this is, like you said, a very spiritual, very sacred experience. Like, the best way to experience getting a tattoo from you is to come get one.
Absolutely. So let's go.
All right. Any last comments? Anything else you'd like to add?
Here at the Azygous Art House, we do pride ourselves in, again, being multidisciplinary. And we've just recently started offering different types of kind of events. So after our art show, we held our first sound bath, which was really cool, with our really good friend Adina from Natural Feeling Spa. And that was amazing. But we're actually working on another event.
Are you allowed to disclose what that is yet?
Just a little bit. Let's just say it's Bob Ross inspired, with like a quartet sprinkled in there.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like music to my ears.
Yes, exactly. So we're really, really excited about that. We're thinking like, Bob Ross meets quartet. In the space.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You're talking about different disciplines. I know that you work in photography and painting and tattooing. Is there one that you enjoy more than the other, or what's your relationship to all those disciplinaries in art?
I do them to the point where they are work, so sometimes it's just like daunting and exhausting, and I'm like, I gotta finish this oil painting. Like, nobody's telling me to do it. But I'm just, I put that pressure on myself. But I feel like I live in a constant state of gratitude for the ability to wake up and create every day, So whether that is making a tattoo or designing a graphic or painting a painting, I'm always like kind of like in a state of awe, like, holy shit, I get to do this for work? Cool.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, I actually read it on your website, that you are fiercely independent so that you can be free.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway I got from seeing your website. And you mentioning it now really strikes a chord, because for me, complete freedom is probably the most valuable thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like one thing that I've, really tried to communicate to the girls here is just like, as artists, as humans, like, life is going to fluctuate, money's going to fluctuate, times are going to be great, times are going to be awful, it's going to get hard. But at the end of the day, the fact that we do get to wake up and choose what we're going to do with our day, like, you're already winning.
Yeah.
Like, millions and millions of dollars can't buy that kind of stuff, And it's like, I think it's definitely good to like reflect on that, and, also make the most of that. Because also, like, as an artist, you could be like, just like living in your own world and everything's willy-nilly and blah, 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 fantasy land, but like, or also like, you sit your ass down and you're going to create, because that creation is going to get you to X, Y, Z, so yeah, there's like again, that mix of business and art, very useful.
When I first met you, I felt this riveting quickening where I saw myself in you. And I was like, oh my goodness. And as I get to know you a little bit more, it's like, oh my goodness, you are a creative force.
Oh, thank
and
you.
a business entrepreneur and a doggy parent. So it's like, it's like my twin. Well, congratulations. And Azygous Art House, I look forward to seeing what you do. And thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.